Hello guys, I am V Sai Srinivas of 10th class from Mathman. I will be explaining today's editorial. So let's get started. So today our editorial's title is Violence and Variance. Policymakers have little option but to renew economic activities after rapid vaccination. The IMF's latest update to its World Economic Outlook spotlights the starkly widening variance in the global recovery from the economic strains caused by the pandemic, and the primary fault line precipitating the divergence of the world's economic into two blocks: those that are normalizing activities from the COVID 19 induced curbs, and those that are still struggling is vaccine access and the pace of vaccination coverage. 3 months since its April forecast, the IMF projects the global economy to expand at an unchanged pace at 6% this year. But it seems the world advanced economics registering faster growth than forecast earlier, while emerging markets and developing economics are expected to post appreciable slower recoveries. The IMF projects advanced economics to grow by 5.6% in 2021, 0.5% quicker than the forecast in April. Undergirding this anticipated acceleration, the US economy is expanding by 7%, a 0.6 percentage point upgrade, on the back of an expansive vaccine rollout that has helped enable substantial normalization in activity and expectation of additional fiscal support. Emerging market and developing economics, on the other hand, are seen expanding by 6.3 and 0.4 percentage points lower than projected in April. India is seen as the largest drag, with the fund cutting its growth forecast for South Asia's largest economy by 3 points to 9.5%, citing the impact of the severe second wave and expected slow recovery in confidence. As a reason for its downgrade, the IMF has warned that countries lagging in vaccination, such as India and Indonesia, would suffer the most among G20 economics. In the event of the emergence of a super contagious virus variant, with just a little over 7% of the population fully vaccinated, India significantly lags the estimated global average of almost 14%, Brazil 18%, and is way behind the 50% and 55% coverage achieved in the US and UK respectively. The fund was effusive in its praise for India's decisive decision in January, when it forecast 11.5% growth for the first fiscal year ending in March 2022, before raising that projection to 12.5% in April after the economy appeared to rebound well in the January-March quarter. That is, has now downgraded its outlook so substantially reflects the extent to which the second wave has severely impaired momentum. With inflation looming as a visceral threat, demand yet to regain transition, and political appetite in government for more fiscal support negligible, India's policymakers have little option but to hasten the vaccine rollout on a war footing. Failure to expedite the coverage could cost the country dearly. So guys, If India has to save its economy, the only way is to fasten the vaccination coverage. At present, about 7% of the whole population is vaccinated, but it is far less than the global average. If you take countries like USA and UK, more than 50% of the population is already vaccinated. But if we take countries like India and Indonesia, the vaccine coverage is very low. The IMF states that the vaccine coverage plays a vital role in the recovery of the economy. And if countries like India and Indonesia lag in the vaccination coverage, they will be the countries that will be most affected by the virus and also the third wave too. The IMF gave an advice to the World Economic Outlook Spotlight that the global recovery from the economic strains because of the virus is primarily can be done by vaccination. If people are vaccinated, they will not be infected by the virus. So the economic activities and other public areas can be open, that is remove restrictions. So and it would also lead to the decrease in the inflation, and it would help a lot. The IMF expects the global economy to expand about 6% this year, and it doesn't want it to change its trajectory. The countries which are having a fast economic recovery are the countries in which more population has been vaccinated. So the IMF expects the economy to grow by 5.6% in 2021, that is this year, and it expects a growth of 7% in US. So in US, the vaccine coverage is very high, that all the activities are normal, and they are expecting additional fiscal support too. The developing economies, on the other hand, are seen expanding by 6.3%, but it is slower than what was projected in April. And as I said, in the vaccination coverage, India is lagging so much. So the cutting of fund led to the low revival of the economy. So in South Asia's largest economy, the increase points should be 3, and the percentage should be 9.5%. The IMF also stated the impact of a severe second wave, and also it doesn't expect a fast recovery. One of the reasons for this downgrade is vaccination. The IMF warned countries that are lagging in vaccination, such as India. So in Brazil, 14% of the population is vaccinated, and in US and UK, 50 and 55% population is vaccinated respectively. So the fund was extensive, and they appreciated India for taking a good decision and action in January. It forecasted 11.5% growth for the fiscal year ending in March 2022, and they had extensive growth in January-March quarter of the fiscal year. So, India's policymakers must do everything they can, because the only option they have is to hasten the vaccination rollout, and failure to do such leads to the cost India might not be able to pay.